say working on books, of course, you're a book cover designer, and we all go into bookstores when we had bookstores, when we were allowed to go into retail stores. And sometimes we glance and we look at these book covers and we're impressed, but we move on. But I take it that's an art in itself to create the book cover which speaks to the message of not only the book, but of the author.
Oh, definitely. And I look at book cover design under the broad concept of brand development. And so it's not only a book, but it's an entire brand approach as well, because I'm very involved with trademark and logo design, brand identity development. And I look at each book as having its own brand identity.
Is that the same as its own soul, or is that too?
Well, in a sense, sure.
Yeah.
In a sense, it's like what distinguishes one book from another, one brand from another, and so on.
And you've been working on some quite noted books, I suppose. The Making of a Surgeon by William A. Nolan. Did you bring us?
Oh, right. And I do have a copy of the cover of that one right here. This is what that one looked like.
And tell me this: is that book being released again or not? Is that the?
This was a special gift edition, and some of these examples are basically pieces that I've come across from my work over the years that would be included in an exhibition. And so part of it is gathering all of this material and looking at some of them that were done either for Irish or Irish American authors or clients and so on. And one of them, you'd mentioned something about Irish related books. This is the book cover enlarged for the book, The Traditional Irish Wedding. And this was published by Wolfhound Press in Dublin in conjunction with Irish Books and Media in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis.
What's interesting about that book cover to me is there's no couple on the cover, and yet it speaks of, it's redolent of weddings and celebration and receptions and I suppose new beginnings. But why did you not think to put a couple on it? You preferred without having a couple being wed on the cover?
Oh, sure. Well, I worked closely with the publisher on that, and that was one of the ways that we determined would be a way to proceed, the publisher and the author and so on. One of the things I wanted to mention was that I was in a large city where they had an Irish gift shop, and this book was on display. And the only thing I was showing it was the cover, the cover of the book was there. And the shop was loaded with Irish merchandise. And I just thought, well, I wonder if anybody's going to just kind of stop and look at this book. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, I was kind of looking at other things in the shop, and some customers came in the shop, and I noticed they walked through the entire store until about halfway through. In the midst of the store, they stopped and they looked at that book. Of all the things in the store, that's the piece they picked up, and I think they bought a copy, but it was the cover that got their attention.
And sometimes in Europe, of course, we used to design our own currency. In Ireland, they used to have the great artist Robert Balla design the old punt. Now it's euro across much of Europe. But are book cover designers not just taken for granted, do you think? Or do you think you are appreciated?
It depends. It's their entire competitions dedicated to book cover design and book design and so on. But that's just one of the areas that I've worked in and continue to work in over the years. And it's a much broader issue for me, or concern, in terms of design. And it relates to the brand. And I've done logo designs and trademark designs. Here's one that I was the lead designer for.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we know that one.
Right, and this was for the launch of the live Sesame Street touring program that went all over the world. And this is where they would have life-size or bigger than life-size characters on stage. And this was launched back in 1980. And so I was the principal designer, the designer on this particular piece, but I used the elements of the existing Sesame Street brand and then incorporated into this marquee with the word live.
Now, let me ask you another thing, because we have had 40 wonderful heroes, in my view, art heroes of the pandemic. And when in this dreadful virus and pandemic we faced, art has really lifted people's spirits, but also found that many of the artists we've spoken to were grateful to their community, whether it's Irish American or just their local neighborhood. But of all the art heroes that we're honoring tonight, no one expressed as much thanks for all of those people who helped him or her on their journey to where they are today as you did. So tell me why that's important to you to give thanks.
Oh, thank you so much for mentioning that. I have a copy here of a page of the Irish Echo that shows the ad that you're talking about. I know you can't read it here, but I invite your viewers to look at the Irish Echo and find that 1/4 page ad that basically is an expression of my gratitude, an extensive detail for many of the people who have been influential in my life and career, many of them Irish American ancestors, and so on. And this particular ad focused on everything up to and through around 1971. Because I wrote a piece, it was called, or it made reference to Waterford crystal, and I had designed an image for a commemorative Waterford crystal, and the prize for the competition was an all-expense paid trip to Ireland. And I just recently, during COVID pandemic, wrote about that experience. And I'm hoping it will be published in the Irish Echo, but it is available online in some other formats and some other publications as well. But I think that that uplifting spirit of that writing about my experience traveling to Ireland 50 years ago is an uplifting kind of experience for people during this COVID pandemic to be able to read that.
Well, I hope so. And I should say that the Irish Echo supplement is available online free, where people can go and they can read that entire expression of gratitude.
Right, and thank you regarding that too. Regarding the Irish Echo, there is sorry, there you go.
Oh, it's a beautiful page.
There is this piece in the Irish Echo that is fairly detailed regarding the kind of things that I've done during the pandemic and so on, and over the years. Related to some Irish authors, Irish clients, Irish Americans, and so on, as well as other projects, etc. But this is fairly detailed, and as you may guess, I'm a little long-winded. And rather than reading this or something like this, I hope people can read it in the Irish Echo. I think it's on page 30, and it says Patrick Michael Redmond at the top there.
Well, look, Patrick, Redmond, of course, is a great Irish name.
Thank you.
Patrick, of course, is the most important of all the Irish as well. Can I thank you for being part of our not only recognition of artists, but celebration of artists, and you're a great American artist, a great Irish American artist, and we're really delighted that you were able to take part in this celebration.
Well, I am so honored, and I'm grateful to be included with so many talented artists and performers. This is a true honor for me as well. And I also want to make a mention of my father, who was a battalion chief in the fire department.
Oh,
I think somebody might mistake this for military. This is actually his firefighter.
In which city? Which city? In Milwaukee?
In the city of West Allis, Wisconsin. It's a suburb of Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And that was my late father. And I also need to mention my Irish ancestors. Looking for another photo here that I thought I had handy, but here we go. This is these are the Redmonds.
Wow, good for them.
These are my grandparents and my uncles and so on. And just wanted to at least show their pictures, and the O'Briens, the Redmonds, and the Irish side goes way back. And I also need to mention the support of my parents over the years, and family, and mention the Italian side too. My mother's side was all Italian.
Good.
Sicilian specifically, and I'm sure you have many viewers who are Irish Italians or Italian Irish. I mean, that's not an unusual combination.
That's where the good looks come from. Patrick, we're not going to leave you just yet, but I want to say thank you very much for. And Patrick, please show us your Irish Echo Arts Hero Medal. Congratulations!
There it is.
Drum roll. Congratulations!
Thank you.